not. अगर पुलिस कोई एविडेंस एक्सट्रैक्ट कर पाती है या फर्दर इन्वेस्टिगेशन में कोई इंप्रूवमेंट आती है, then the magistrate will grant the remand. Otherwise, the magistrate is not supposed to grant the remand of that accused unless and until the magistrate is satisfied. अब का जो सेकंड राइट है, द अक्यूज्ड का जो सेकंड राइट है, that is the protection against ex post facto law. What is the ex post facto law? Article 20 of the Constitution deals with that, which says the accused, he cannot be granted punishment for an act or omission which was not punishable by law at the time when it was committed by the accused. इसको समझने के लिए first suppose I am giving you the proposition कि एक लॉ है जो अभी पास हुआ है कि आज with regard to the electronic and media crimes के जो harassment है या for example कोई भी law आप consider कर लें, that is to be considered as a crime and that is punishable for the imprisonment of 7 years. That is enacted and assented by the president, for example 10th August of 2024, and someone has committed the same offense on 1st August 2024. Is that person is punishable under the criminal jurisprudence of Pakistan? The answer emphatically is no, definitely no, because Article 12 of the Constitution protect that person. कि कोई भी लॉ पनिशेबल तब होगा जब वो जब कमिट किया जाए, एट द सेम टाइम उस कमेंसमेंट या उस कमिटिंग के दौरान वो लॉ एप्लीकेबल हो इन पाकिस्तान. Then the next right is right to be informed of the grounds of arrest. Article 10, sub-article 1, read with section 50, 55 and 75 of the CRPC deals with कि जब भी किसी भी बंदे को अरेस्ट किया जाएगा, the police is bound to disclose the reasons for his arrest immediately after he is being arrested. किसी भी बंदे को जब भी पुलिस अरेस्ट करने जाएगी, that person has a right to ask the police कि भाई मुझे किस जुर्म के अंदर या कौन सी FIR के तहत या कौन से गुनाह के तहत मुझे अरेस्ट किया जा रहा है. That is the right of the accused as per Article 10 of Article 1 of the Constitution. यहाँ तक अगर किसी को कोई भी confusion हो, I think you can ask me. If any question you have, you may ask me. Okay, great. You all are brilliant, I guess. You're understanding each and everything. The next right is the right to a fair trial. I think this is one of the cardinal principle of the criminal jurisprudence. Okay, what is the fair trial? Article 10A of the Constitution said that accused has the right to fair trial and to be tried by the independent judiciary in compliance with the due process of law. Furthermore, due process को in the Constitution of US में define किया गया है. There is a commentary on that. उसमें summarized किया गया है due process को in the following 4 elements. Number 1, he shall have due notice of the proceedings which affect his rights. कि किसी भी बंदे के खिलाफ अगर कोई भी प्रोसीडिंग्स, कोई भी ट्रायल, कोई भी आप यूं कह लें कि अगर किसी के खिलाफ FIR लॉन्च हो गई है, then that person has a right to at least notice के उसके बंदे के खिलाफ ये प्रोसीडिंग्स स्टार्ट हो गई हैं. Second element of the due process of law is he shall be given reasonable opportunity to defend. Reasonable opportunity to defend से मतलब ये है कि अगर उस बंदे के खिलाफ कोई भी चार्जेस हैं, then he must be given an opportunity to present his defense before the competent court of law. Either that defense is be presented by that person itself, himself or herself, or if that person is unable to defend himself or herself before the competent court of law, then the state is bound to provide the counsel to that accused on expenses definitely. या हमारे यहाँ एक और प्रैक्टिस भी चलती है, that practice is the pro bono lawyer. मेजोरिटी ऑफ द केसेस में आपको हैदराबाद की प्रैक्टिस बता रहा हूँ, यहाँ पे डिस्ट्रिक्ट एंड सेशन जज के पास एक लिस्ट होती है लॉयर्स की, जो अपने आप को एज ए प्रो बोनो प्रेजेंट करने के लिए या अपीयर होने के लिए ऑन बिहाफ ऑफ द एनी अक्यूज्ड और एनी पर्सन वो राजी होते हैं, या वो अपना एसेंट दे देते हैं टू द ऑनरेबल डिस्ट्रिक्ट एंड सेशन जज. अगर किसी को कोई भी असिस्टेंट चाहिए होती है विद रिगार्ड टू द defense or with regard to the presentation of the case, and if the honorable district and session judge is of the opinion that this is the fit case for the pro bono, then the one of the lawyer from that list be called and to present the case of that person before the competent court of law. So the third element is that the tribunal or court before which his rights are adjudicated, it's so constituted as to give reasonable assurance of his honesty and impartiality. Impartiality and honesty से मतलब ये है कि बाइस ना हो जो कोर्ट जिसमें उस बंदे का कोई भी ट्रायल इनिशिएट हो रहा है या हो चुका है, या कोई फॉर एग्जांपल अगर किसी भी कोर्ट में कोई भी केस चल रहा है, तो दैट कोर्ट must not be in a relation, or that judge must not be in a relation with the one of the party of the case. So in that case, that court should not be considered as an impartial, and definitely then the questions of being an honest and the assurance shall not be given in that regard. Number fourth element of the fair trial, the due process, is that it is a court of a competent jurisdiction. Competent jurisdiction का मतलब ये है कि अगर फॉर एग्जांपल किसी की टेरिटोरियल jurisdiction है हैदराबाद, the case should not be proceed in the court of Lahore, Islamabad or the Karachi, because इससे उस बंदे के, उस accused के जो rights हैं वो violate होते हैं on the greater extent. या किसी भी कोर्ट की कोई पिक्यूनरी जुरिस्डिक्शन डिफाइन की गई है, नॉट इन अ क्रिमिनल सेंस बट इन अ सिविल सेंस, द पिक्यूनरी जुरिस्डिक्शन इज आल्सो इज ऑफ अ ग्रेट इंपॉर्टेंस. So the summarizing the elements of the due process of law, I would say number one is the due notice of the proceeding is the fundamental, then followed by the reasonable opportunity to defend, then the court which has a right to adjudicate must be the honest and impartial, not the biased one, and the fourth one is the court must be of a competent jurisdiction. The next right of the accused is right to privacy. Right to privacy का क्या मतलब है? हमारे यहाँ इसको implement कैसे किया जाता है in the criminal jurisprudence of Pakistan? Article 14, sub-article 1 of the Constitution deals with the right to privacy. Right to privacy of a man and the privacy of his home is to be inviolable right of that person. अगर हमारे यहाँ majority of the cases I'm talking about the Sindh, especially in the area where I live, हमारे यहाँ क्या होता है कि अगर किसी के खिलाफ कोई FIR दर्ज हो गई, then the police is supposed to raid in his house without चार दीवारी या किसी चद्दर का कोई भी लिहाज करते हुए. Unfortunately, this is happening all around the Pakistan, but that right is given in the Constitution of Pakistan under Article 14(1) के उनकी जो घर की प्राइवेसी है, जो होम की प्राइवेसी है, या उसकी खुद की जो डिग्निटी है, that is not to be violated by any person under the Constitution. So till that, these were the pre-trial rights. अब जो यहाँ पे ट्रायल स्टार्ट होगा, then आपके पास क्या राइट्स हैं? That starts from the protection from the torture. I'm again saying that the protection from torture starts from the lodgement of FIR. वो कैसे? For example, हमारे यहाँ एक concept होता है कि झूठी FIR लॉन्च करवा के कोई फ्यूडल होता है या कोई वडेरा होता है, वो किसी पे झूठी एफआईआर लॉन्च करवा के उस बंदे को अंदर करवा देता है, देन ही इज सपोज टू गिव द मनी टू द पुलिस कि भाई अब इसको आप जाके टॉर्चर करें. दैट स्टार्ट्स फ्रॉम द लॉन्चमेंट ऑफ एन एफआईआर. बट फॉर एग्जाम्पल, अगर किसी के खिलाफ चार्ज फ्रेम हो गई, अगर चार्ज फ्रेम हो गई, then that person is except in unless in a condition के he is not been granted a bail. अगर उसके खिलाफ चार्ज फ्रेम हो गई, अब वो पर्सन जाएगा या तो पुलिस कस्टडी में या तो जाएगा अब जुडिशियल कस्टडी में. इन मेजॉरिटी ऑफ द केसेस accused goes to the judicial custody. अब वहां पे उनको टॉर्चर करना, उनको इनह्यूमिलिएट करना, दैट इज restricted as per Article 14 sub-article 2 of the Constitution, which prohibits the use of torture for the purpose of extracting evidence. An accused under the light of this provision cannot be tortured. Evidence भी आप extract नहीं कर सकते किसी भी accused से while facing that accused in the mouth of a torture. आप किसी को भी टॉर्चर करके कोई भी एविडेंस नहीं निकाल सकते हैं. But unfortunately, on a larger aspect, if I talk about, it is happening all around the Pakistan. Then another right is the protection against double jeopardy. Double jeopardy के क्या मकसद है? For example, अगर किसी बंदे के खिलाफ कोई एफआईआर लॉन्च हो गई, उसका ट्रायल कंडक्ट हुआ, and at the end he has that person is convicted or acquitted. अब उस पे प्रिंसिपल ऑफ jeopardy implement हो जाएगा. Basically, the concept of jeopardy is once the person has been convicted or acquitted, in a simpler word, I would say prosecuted or and punished or not twice for the same offense, he shall not be tried again for that offense. That right of the accused deals under Article 13, read with Section 403 of the CRPC. अब उस बंदे को आप दोबारा से उसी सेम क्राइम के अंदर उसको ट्राई नहीं कर सकते once the trial has been conducted or concluded. That case, the person shall not be tried for the same offense. Similar principle, अगर आपको civil jurisprudence में देखना है in Pakistan, that is be dealt as per Section 11 of the CPC, the principle of res judicata. Principle of res judicata definitely prohibits the courts to again try the matter which has been concluded, which has been finalized by the court of a competent jurisdiction. So the principle, the protection against double jeopardy of the accused enshrined in Article 13, read with Section 403 of the Code of Criminal Procedure under the CRPC. अगर यहाँ तक किसी को कोई भी क्वेश्चन है, then he may ask me. If anybody has a question with regard to any of the principle which I have mentioned here, he is free to ask the question. Okay. Protection against double jeopardy, then the right against unnecessary restraint. Unnecessary restraint का क्या मकसद है? Unnecessary restraint का मकसद आपको, for example, Section 50 of the CRPC speaks about this right, which prevents any escape from the police, which prevents any necessary escape from the police custody. अगर यहाँ for example अगर कोई police custody में है, वो escape करने की कोशिश करता है या कोई भी ऐसी सिचुएशन क्रिएट होती है, कोई पुलिस वहां पे जाती है अरेस्ट करने के लिए, देन इन ह्यूमन कंडीशन or any excessively usage of a chain or etc. in order to restrain that person is prohibited under section 50 of the Code of Criminal Procedure. In spite of that, अगर आप section 46 of the code देखेंगे तो which specifically deals with the touch or confine of the body of the person in order to arrest. यहाँ पे सेक्शन 46 को एलिबरेट करने का सिर्फ और सिर्फ ये मकसद है कि in a criminal jurisprudence of Pakistan, on what extent the right from unnecessary restraint has been provided to the accused. Even a touch or confining to the body of the accused is necessary to arrest that person. And in some of the cases, in some of the jurisdiction around the world, वहाँ पे तो इस तरह से भी डील किया जाता है of the arrest of the person के उसको spoken word से अगर उसको बोल दिया जाए कि भाई you are under arrest, it is enough to arrest that person. But in section 46 of the Code of Criminal Procedure, the touch confine the body of the person is enough in order to arrest that person. So unnecessary restraint का तो सवाल ही पैदा नहीं होता unless in an exceptional condition, जब कोई बंदा कोई highly organized terrorist group से belong करता हो या वो इतना मतलब कि danger हो which is the immediate danger to the society of the people living there. In that situation, obviously police having no option left at his side, they can use the in an extent level that police can restrain that person in order to avoid the further harm to the society or the public at large. In spite of that, कोई भी ऐसा प्रोविजन क्रिमिनल प्रोसीजर या किसी भी लॉ में पाकिस्तान की ज्यूरिस्प्रूडेंस में नहीं है जो कि अननेसेसरी रिस्ट्रेंट को प्रमोट करता हो. The next right of the accused is a right against self-incrimination. मैंने पहले भी आपको पिछली स्लाइड्स में बताया था कि किसी भी बंदे को एविडेंस एक्सट्रैक्ट करने के लिए आप उसको टॉर्चर नहीं कर सकते. Article 13B of the Constitution deals with that the accused cannot be compelled to be a witness against himself if he is accused of any charge. किसी भी अक्यूज्ड को आप कंपेल नहीं कर सकते, मतलब आप उसको मजबूर नहीं कर सकते कि आप जो है ना वो आके एज अ विटनेस पेश हो अपने ही केस में. आप अपने ही केस में एक एज अ विटनेस पेश हो और आप आके कबूल करें whatever the charges has been laid down against you in an FIR or the challan which has been submitted by the police under section 173 of the CRPC. You are not supposed to compel an accused in order to be a witness in his case. That right is provided under Article 13B of the Constitution. Then the right which deals with the accused is to get copies of the reports, documents, statements, and statement of witnesses, which had been recorded under section 161 of the CRPC 164, if any, if the statement has been recorded by the magistrate under section 164 of any of the accused. If there are more than one accused, then the copy to be supplied to the accused, copy supplies to the accused under section 241A in a magistrate trial and in under section 265C in a session trial under the Code of Criminal Procedure. अब उनके अंदर क्या क्या होगा उन कॉपीज के अंदर, उन डॉक्यूमेंट्स के अंदर, वो तो definitely it depends upon the trial which is to be conducted either by the magistrate or by the session court. But in majority of the cases, the documents contains the FIR पुलिस रिपोर्ट्स, स्टेटमेंट ऑफ विटनेसेस, जो डेली डायरीज होती हैं पुलिस जो बनाती हैं, और उनको भी ऐड किया जाता है, या कोई नोट्स वगैरह पुलिस वगैरह बनाती है while visiting the place of occurrence or the place of incident. In that case, those notes are also be provided to the accused free of cost. This is also a right of accused in the criminal jurisprudence of Pakistan. Then another right is right to insist that evidence be recorded in his presence except in special circumstances. Evidence to be recorded in his presence means in the presence of the accused. Section 353 of the Code of Criminal Procedure deals with this right. Why this right is important? Because अगर आप accused के सामने कोई भी evidence record नहीं करेंगे, then he is not supposed to defend himself with regard or with extent to the evidence which has been recorded by the court in absence of that accused. That's why the right has been provided to the accused under section 353 of the Code of Criminal Procedure कि जो भी evidence record की जाएंगी witnesses की या किसी और बंदे की, that is to be recorded in presence of the accused. Anybody wants to speak or have a question? No, okay. The next right is right to be examined in the language accused understands. Evidence is to be recorded in presence of the accused is followed by the right to be examined in the language accused understand. That right is enshrined in section 364, 360, 361, 357 of the Code of Criminal Procedure, which gives the right to accused to be examined by the magistrate or the court in the language which the accused understand. इस राइट को देने का जो दी इंटेंट है लेजिस्लेचर की, दैट इज द ओनली वन इंटेंट के जो भी एविडेंस जो भी प्रोसीडिंग्स चल रही हैं अगेंस्ट दैट अक्यूज्ड इन एनी कॉम्पिटेंट कोर्ट ऑफ जुरिसडिक्शन, दैट इज टू बी ऑन द एक्सटेंट के उस अक्यूज्ड को उस लैंग्वेज में उसको प्रोसीड किया जाए जो वो अक्यूज्ड समझने के काबिल हो. अगर अक्यूज्ड प्रोसीडिंग्स को या जो भी एविडेंस उसके खिलाफ दिए जा रहे हैं उनको समझने के काबिल ही नहीं होगा, then how he is supposed to defend himself in an ambiguity or in the environment of a chaos where he does not know what is supposed to be presented or what is presented in the court against that accused in the shape of any evidence, statement of any person, or any extract material by the police. So this is the right given to the accused that के जो भी proceedings जो भी ट्रायल चलेगा किसी भी कोर्ट में, that is to be conducted in a language which the accused understands. So till that, I think we have understand from the lodgement of FIR the understanding of the accused of the proceeding is, I think, one of the cardinal principles of the Code of Criminal Procedure or the criminal jurisprudence of Pakistan. These rights have been provided to the accused not only in the constitution, but the same have been enshrined by the Code of Criminal Procedure in different sections in it. From the lodgement of FIR to the understanding of proceedings. The next right is right to bail. Definitely this right is not the right which is to be conducted after the जो आपकी जो चार्ज फ्रेम हुई है, फ्रेमिंग ऑफ चार्ज के बाद आप इस राइट टू बेल को नहीं कर सकते। बट आई प्रेफर कि इसको लास्ट में डिटेल में डिस्कस किया जाए, नॉट इन अ डिटेल इन अ सेंस के आपका पूरा लेक्चर ऑन बेल पे ही चला जाए, बट to give a very brief introduction of what the bail is या bail कैसे ग्रांट की जाती है। Right to bail comes or starts from the lodgement of FIR in the shape of pre-arrest bail। अगर किसी भी बंदे के खिलाफ कोई भी FIR lodge हो गई है, then that person is supposed to that person is not supposed to but has been given a right to get the bail from the court of competent jurisdiction. That bail is to be called the pre-arrest bail, which is dealt under section 498 CRPC. In majority of the cases, the pre-arrest bail is to be given to the accused on a जब कोई accused आके कोर्ट को ये satisfy करे on the satisfaction of the court के whatever the content of the FIR, whatever the story in the FIR has been mentioned by the complainant is based on the mala fide, and in order to drag that accused in a false or the mala fide case. So in order to constitute a pre-arrest bail, a mala fide is to be shown by the accused before the court of a competent jurisdiction or competent court. Then the section 497 deals with the post-arrest bail. Post-arrest bail is very much clear from his wording के जो arrest के बाद कोई भी bail ली जाएगी, that bail is known as the post-arrest bail, which is enshrined under section 497 of the CRPC. The grounds of a post-arrest bail in majority of the cases taken by the lawyers is के bail जो है on the basis of on a further inquiry or the further investigation is be granted to the post-arrest bail. शुरू में जो जैसे हमने पढ़ा इन द स्लाइड्स के आप किसी भी बंदे को डिटेन नहीं कर सकते, किसी भी बंदे को अननेसेसरी रिस्ट्रेन नहीं कर सकते। सिमिलरली द कांसेप्ट ऑफ अ प्री-अरेस्ट बेल इज आप किसी भी बंदे को फॉर अनलिमिटेड period, for the unlimited time behind the bars or incarcerated नहीं कर सकते just on the ground के police is just conducting its investigation and still the solid evidence has not been extracted by the police against that accused. So in that cases, majority of the courts grant the pre-arrest bail, post-arrest bail. Then another type of bail is bail in bailable cases. Bail in bailable cases is dealt under section 496 CRPC. Bail in bailable cases is the right of an accused, but refusal is an exception. Means के bail in bailable cases accused का right है वो deny कर ही नहीं सकती court. अगर there is an exception, there is an extraordinary situation, and the court is of the opinion that yes, bail is the offense which has been mentioned in the FIR or in the challan, the police report is of the bailable nature, but the circumstances is of the nature that it does not allow the court to grant a bail to the accused under section 496 of the CRPC. There are majority, not in a majority, but there are many cases of the Honorable Supreme Court or the High Courts in which the bail has been refused by the courts in a bailable cases as well under section 496, considering the unavoidable circumstances. Another bail, the type of a bail is the protective bail. Protective bail in a majority, in most of the cases, is granted by the high courts. The concept of a protective bail is कि accused को एक protection दी जाए कि वो जाके जो competent court of jurisdiction है वो जाके वहाँ पे surrender करे अपने आप को and face the charges which has been laid down against that accused. This is the concept of a protective bail. So till that we have understand from the lodgement of a FIR and everything till the right of a bail of the accused. जहां तक अगर किसी को कोई भी क्वेश्चन है, then he can ask. Okay, anybody wants to ask a question? I think one of the participant is trying, but is not supposed to convey his voice to me. Okay, let's forward. The next question, the next slide is with regard to the post-trial rights. We have discussed the pre-trial rights. We have discussed the rights during the trial. Then another type of the rights is post-trial rights. The only right, the post-trial right is the right to appeal. For example, अगर किसी भी कोर्ट ने किसी भी बंदे को कन्विक्ट कर दिया है, किसी भी अक्यूज को कन्विक्ट कर दिया है, then that accused has a right to make an appeal against that decision of a court to the higher court, to the higher hierarchy of the courts in the court system of the Pakistan. For example, अगर किसी बंदे को magistrate court ने convict किया है, then he's supposed to make an appeal before the district session court of that district. अगर किसी बंदे को district and session court ने convict किया है, then he's supposed to make an appeal before the honorable high court. अगर किसी बंदे की conviction is still upheld की गई है by the honorable high court, then he's supposed to appeal under Article 185 of the Constitution before the Honorable Supreme Court of Pakistan against the upheld or the impugned order or the judgment of the Honorable High Court. So in that way, right of appeal has been given to the accused in a criminal jurisprudence. Similarly, if agar kisi bhi accused ko, this topic deals with the rights of accused, but the complainant has the same rights in the criminal jurisprudence if the magistrate court or session court or the high court has acquitted that accused from the charges which he has been let down, or which he has been tried. In that case, the complainant has the same rights of appeal in the criminal jurisprudence of Pakistan. Then the last slide, which deals with the exceptional rights for the vulnerable groups. Vulnerable groups कौन से होते हैं CRPC में? For example, minors हो गए, idiots हो गए, lunatics हो गए, women हो गई. These persons are known as the जो medically unfit हैं या जो medically sound नहीं है, those persons are known as the vulnerable groups in the criminal jurisprudence of Pakistan. उनको भी राइट्स दिए गए हैं इन द क्रिमिनल jurisprudence. For example, lunatics की जहाँ बात की जाए, those rights have been given by the CRPC under section 464 and onwards के उनका जो ट्रायल है वो कैसे चलेगा, या उनकी जो कस्टडी होगी, या उनका जो फॉर एग्जांपल इन अ सिंपलर वर्ड्स हम कह दें कि जेल होगी, वो कौन सी होगी, कहाँ पे उनको रखा जाएगा, कौन उनको मॉनिटर करेगा, कौन सी सिचुएशंस में उनको डील किया जाएगा, कौन सी सिचुएशंस में उनको बेल ग्रांट की जाएगी. Each and everything has been dealt under section 464 and onwards of the CRPC. Similarly, अगर women's की बात की जाए, those rights have been also provided by the Code of Criminal Procedure, especially in the section 497 of the CRPC. There is a clause which specifically deals with the women's and the minors and the medically unfit persons in order to grant them a bail. In order to grant them a bail under section 497, there is exception to these persons, including the women, minors, as well as the medically unfit person. Similarly, Section 167 of the CRPC, which deals with the remand, has also given an exception to the women, in a sense कि अगर पुलिस को किसी भी वुमेन अक्यूज्ड का कोई रिमांड लेना है या किसी से इन्वेस्टिगेशन करनी है, अगर वो वुमेन जेल में है, देन that woman is not supposed to be investigated after the sunset. अगर पुलिस को कोई इन्वेस्टिगेशन करनी भी है, then they are supposed to investigate that woman from the time, like the official times, from 9 to 5 or 9 to 6. They are not supposed to be investigated in at night or some the suspicious time. So these rights have been provided to the women's minors, lunatics, as per the criminal jurisprudence of the Pakistan. So I think this was the last slide of my lecture, and we still have the, if I'm not wrong, 5 minutes. So in order to summarize these, I think I have done a detailed job on each and every right which have been enshrined in the Constitution, along with the Code of Criminal Procedure, which starts from the pre-trial rights, from the lodgement of an FIR to the framing of a charge, which then starts the during trial rights. उसमें आपका due process of law, आपका fair trial, each and everything is covered. आपके जो accused के जो rights हैं, वो जो post trial rights हैं, basically which are the appellate rights which the accused has in the criminal jurisprudence. After that, there are some vulnerable groups like the women, minors, and the medically unfit persons, lunatics, which are also be dealt differently in the criminal jurisprudence of Pakistan. So that's all from my side. If you want to add up or add on something, you are welcome to add. And if you have any question to ask me, you are also welcome to ask the question as well.